Joining us right now, I don't want to waste around because we got a lot to discuss, is our friend Sam Fortier from the Washington Post. Sam is part of a team of reporters covering this RFK situation. I want to credit Aaron at the Post and at Megan_Flynn also on this story. Sammy, what up, dude?
Hey, guys. How you doing? JP, before we get to that, I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
Is Spotify Wrapped dropped today? Is that a conversation that you guys – it's the only thing that, like, I feel like people in my life are talking about right now.
Spotify what?
It's like Spotify does this yearly review of all the music you listen to. Do you use Spotify, B?
No.
Okay. I use it. I'll look at mine.
Pandora.
The problem with my Spotify Wrap is that my kids' music dominates now.
Oh,
so it's
sure.
It's just whack. Like, it's all Taylor Swift.
I use Pandy and Apple Music.
I know you like Apple. All right. What is yours? What's dominating yours, Sammy?
I mean, we had some Kendrick this year. I'm big into this guy MJ Lenderman, who did a show in DC about a month ago.
I like that dude.
Oh, you know about MJ Lenderman? Let's go.
Yeah, I'm an XMU guy. That's my go-to music station.
I love that.
All right, but let's get down to business because this thing is happening. RFK Stadium. It has to happen before Christmas when the Senate adjourns, and then you get all the new senators next year. Bring everybody up to speed, because when I told these boys we're talking about Jets today, they were like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, basically, like you said, the deadline is fast approaching. This bill is not going to get a standalone vote, a roll call vote on the Senate floor. So basically what they got to do is you got to get this thing attached to a larger must-pass bill. And there's not that many of them left this year. And basically, what political people say is these bigger bills are like Christmas trees, and people are just lobbing crazy unrelated ornaments on them. One of my colleagues told me yesterday that the bill that they're trying to get RFK attached to right now, the National Defense Authorization Act, people are calling it, it's NDAA. Last year it had 1,000 amendments or something. So RFK is a very, very small piece of that, but it's something that you have to get sign off from all four corners of leadership, the leaders of the House and the Senate. And so basically, what this battle is over, why we're talking about Jets, is that Maryland has representation in the Senate, and their senators can say, hey, Chuck Schumer, Senate Majority Leader, we oppose this bill for X, Y, and Z. We can get into that if you want. I feel like people might already know. And D.C. does not have that representation. So, Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, Josh Harris, D.C. leaders, James Comer, the House Republican who introduced this bill, they've all been lobbying to get this thing attached. And basically Maryland has said, okay, if you want us to drop our opposition, which is huge, then we have these three things, and the Jets are one of them.
So state can disrupt the whole thing?
Yeah, because basically Maryland can go to Chuck Schumer and say, hey, look, we oppose this. We don't like this. And Chuck Schumer is trying to do the calculus in his head, right? He's going to need their votes on something. He doesn't want to, overrule a member of his caucus. Those Maryland senators are votes to him. And so, that's why they can kind of throw a wrench into this thing.
So, and Maryland's two Dems, Schumer's a Dem. He needs them to get this through.
Basically. But my whole thing, why would you, as any state, want to weaken the defense of D.C.?
Well, because Maryland is losing their only fighter squadron. The Air Force in March basically transitioned their squadron to a cyber unit so it basically has ground cyber capabilities. I'm not exactly sure what that is. You'd have to ask our military people. But basically they don't have a squadron now, and they're the only state in the country without one. And so Maryland is we would like one, and we see DC over there. We would like theirs.
This is so nuts.
You know what? And what if the government said, okay, DC give it to them, and then they give DC another one? I would think that the United States government would want to make sure that DC has anything to protect itself.
Yo, but a more basic question, the Navy and the Air Force, what does DC or Maryland need their own jets for? You have the Army.
Because they just moved the Navy stuff all to cyber, whatever.
If anything was to happen here, I don't think we'd be dependent.
It sounds like something that a bunch of damn kids would be arguing about.
DC, how many jets are we talking, Sammy?
A squadron is a few. I don't have the exact number on that. My colleagues were handling that portion of it. But I also want to point out here, the Jets are buzzy, and like it's a crazy thing, right? When you start thinking about like, is this a fantasy football trade where it's like Jets for stadium? Like I get that, but so Maryland and the Commanders met in the Senate yesterday, and the thing that came out of that meeting, according to our sources, is like the Jets are a part of this. A bigger part of it is what is the Commanders' plan for that Landover land where they own 200 acres if they leave. I think Maryland is very focused on. We saw what happened to RFK Stadium. We do not want that to happen to us. And so I think
that's a good question. What is that answer?
I don't know. I think that's the thing they're talking about right now. I think there's like several options, right? Like you could say, hey, we'll put the practice facility, we'll put our headquarters and all that, the business ops, which is in College Park right now, we'll put it over there. You could do some other things. Josh Harris owns a lot of youth sports properties right now. Maybe you do, a youth sports complex, something like that. So I think that they're trying to figure out what exactly does that look like right now. That's
interesting. So whether or not the trading a stadium for some Jets is a real thing, I think is how relatively common is this in the political space when how big is this budget they're trying to pass? We're talking trillions of dollars, right?
So my understanding, it's technically not spending. This bill is like a policy bill that kind of like lays out things, but I'm getting over my head when we talk about what exactly.
Yeah, you and I talk about football. This is asinine. This is not our part of the world. You know what I mean?
Right. And my colleague Paul Kane, who covers Congress, is like, he's an ace at this stuff, and he was explaining yesterday to me, like, look, like this is the way that the senators are doing this is not uncommon. Like this happens all the time over everything, and like.
This is just kind of standard horse trading, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. But like this, he was like, look, people on the Hill like do not care about the RFK bill. They are not thinking about the RFK bill. It's just that like when you start throwing fighter jets and NFL and Roger Goodell and billionaires like Josh Harris in the mix, like it gets a little bit more attention. But this is not like a thing that like people are locked in on the Hill otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. How likely, despite like the sensationalism of Jets and stadiums and Roger Goodell, like does this seem like it's going to happen?
I mean, it's really tough, right? Because like the four corners of leadership that we're talking about here, like they can pretty much object to this thing up until 12:01 a.m. on the deadline that we're talking about, and the deadline's kind of unclear, but whenever that is, like last minute they can put it in, take it out, and so. It's hard to handicap where we're at, but if, Maryland and the Commanders are meeting and they're talking about, hey, here are the steps, like that's a positive sign. If you have Roger Goodell and Josh Harris going on the Hill and taking, and those four corners of leadership all taking those meetings, like that's a pretty good sign, but it's really hard to rubber stamp it,
Yeah. Sure. Here's
a weird-ish, man.
It's definitely weird-ish. We're all so focused on getting it through Capitol Hill and the Senate and everything. And I understand why, especially right now, you're kind of at the deadline here, right? Like it's first to goal from the 5, but you only got 30 seconds on the clock. It's kind of how it feels right now. How smooth is it going to go through the city? Because who's going to pay? Because I know a lot of people in the city are going to be like, yo, we're not paying for that.
To me, like,
they said they wouldn't go pay for the $500 million they gave to Wichita too, right?
I know. I think they'll come up with it, but like somebody's going to fight about it.
Well, I think the difference there probably is like I would expect it not to be a direct subsidy where it like comes out of the state, comes out of the coffers of the city. I would expect it to be more of like what they did at Audi Field, which is, the city does, the quote unquote horizontal work. They prepare the land, they do some infrastructure stuff. Maybe tax breaks, things like that. And so that's how you like get that done when it's not just a cash sort of deal. But I mean, that's, I think, besides the point right now, right? Like the city council is going to be divided on this. Charles Allen has always said like, and Phil Mendelson, the chairman, have said like, we don't support taxpayer funds for a football stadium, but they do support this thing passing in Congress because they're like, hey, look, like, we as DC should have a fight over what we want to do with this land. but we need the land first.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, that fight's coming, but they don't need to do it yet. All right, Sammy. You keep working the hill, buddy. Good luck over there. Figure out maybe
someone says 12 to 24 jets in a squadron.
Put the jets where Northwest Stadium is. Make a jet compound right there. Bang! I solved all the issues.
Where are they going to take off at?
They got space. All those parking lots.
I don't know if that's enough.
I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. Those Jets are already headquartered at Joint Base Andrews, which is in Maryland. So, like,
hold on. The Jets are already in Maryland. They just want to move them to their own parking lot.
No, they just want to take ownership of it.
Control over them. They're just headquartered there.
I think this is a bunch of.
They just want to change the paint job from DC to Maryland.
This is a bunch of chewed up
flag, baby.
This is a bunch of chewed up grass that a bull eats.
We're gonna put that stupid crab with the Maryland flag all over them. That's
like
what they want.
Old Bay logo. Yo, I'm a Marylander. Please chill.
Stop talking about that Maryland flag. All right.
You got Maryland pride, Jeff?
For sure.
Hold on. Do you guys remember Louise Lucas, the state senator who was getting all the memes off about Monumental?
She shut it all down. Norfolk lady, right?
Yeah, exactly. Did you see her tweet yesterday when our story broke?
No, she's funny on Twitter though. What was it?
Yeah, she was like, look, we can, you can say whatever you want about that bill, but the last thing we need is Maryland drivers in the skies.
Oh boy!
All right, Louise, you're right, baby.
Take it easy.
Home run.
You ever driven around 7 Corners, Eden Center? It's the worst driving in the universe.
Hey man,
that's the Maryland and you're talking, man.
just get on 270.
All right, Sam. Last one. I'm going to ask you one football question. It's our friend Sam Fortier from the Washington Post. Are you aware that Pro Football Focus rated Jayden Daniels 23rd based on Week 13, the win against Tennessee? 23rd ranking for Jayden Daniels, 2 slots below Will Levis, his counterpart in that game.
Yeah, I saw your back and forth on Twitter about this actually just before I came on, and I think to me, man, like the individual grades from like individual games and plays, like I think there's a lot of noise in that data personally. Like to me, PFF grades are most useful if you're looking at like a season aggregate, sometimes games, but like, and to me, it's like the specific grade. If you talk about differences in like decimal points, not that interesting to me. To me, it's like it gets you on the green of their performance. And yeah, they're gonna have misses sometimes. Like
this
Jayden
one
was
feels like a miss.
Like if a guy was 12 of 24, threw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions for only 109 yards, you think that'll be better than what Jayden did the other day?
No, I'm not saying
but
that.
But it is based off of their BS.
I don't know how the methodology works over there.
They don't know how it works.
How I use it.
I hear what you're saying. There is value to PFF. I'm not trying to throw it out. I'm not. What is it? The baby with the bathwater.
I'm gonna throw out I think PFF is toilet tissue, throwing it out with the flush.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Sammy, thank you for making time. I know it was last minute. Good luck. Beating the streets up on Capitol Hill. Knock on those doors, buddy.
Thanks, guys. I always appreciate you.